Hello everybody, today I will show you how to replace wheel bearings, and we're gonna go ahead and replace rotors and brakes as well on Cadillac Catera. First we're gonna go ahead and raise the vehicle, remove the tire and secure it with a jack stand. I'm using 11/16 socket. You also can use 17mm. Now we're ready to remove the caliper so we can release the rotor and the wheel bearing as well. To do so, I'm using 1/2" socket, and we're gonna go and remove 2 bolts that hold the caliper against the bracket. Before removing caliper, make sure you remove a brake hose clip that holding against the strut. Release your brake hose before removing caliper, and make sure you do not hang a caliper on the hose. Just secure it somewhere on the frame. I do it here. Just like that. Now we can go ahead and remove bracket. And I'm using 11mm socket. And now we're ready to remove rotor. To do so, we can go ahead and remove a retainer bolt over here, and I'm using a 5mm socket like this. Just gonna use my impact to make it easier. Every time you remove retainer bolts like this that hold the rotor, make sure your tool will fit perfectly, otherwise you can damage the thread inside, and then it's going to be really hard for you to remove this bolt. To remove wheel bearing, we need to remove cap over here that hiding a nut inside that we will need to remove, and I'm using just flat screwdriver and hammer, kind of hammer it around like this, and then try to hammer it out the whole cap. To remove your wheel bearing, the only one nut's holding it, and I'll be using a 32mm socket like this. Before sliding new wheel bearing on the knuckle, we need to go ahead and clean it with a brake part cleaner and just kind of inspect if you don't see any damage or maybe the metal chipped off or something. And also if there's any rust, make sure you remove all rust. I like to use wheel bearing grease, kind of apply and make it all greasy. It's gonna help to slide your new wheel bearing on the knuckle, and it's gonna slide much easier. Otherwise, if you'll try to put on a dry knuckle, your wheel bearing can actually stuck, and then you'll be fighting with it to remove it. And I'm not suggesting you to do it because you actually can damage your wheel bearing. Also, don't forget to inspect your wheel speed sensor. Just kind of clean this sensor right here. Now we can go and slide it. Now in this case, unfortunately, I have to hammer it down the wheel bearing. And for you not to damage it, I like to use just a piece of wood and kind of hammer it down gently. Don't try to do it too hard. And now it's back in place. Make sure your knot is all clean. You can go ahead and install it. Now you have to apply 263 torque pounds. Next step will be installing a new rotor, and the same way you was removing everything earlier, you kind of do it backwards and just installing everything back. On the retainer bolt, I like to put just a little bit of wheel bearing grease. It's kind of help to prevent from any corrosion or rust, and will help in future removal of this nut. Before installing a caliper bracket, definitely suggest you to go ahead and clean it with a brush and some brake cleaner, and also make sure your pins have grease in them and they clean. I replaced my brakes approximately a year ago, and you just need to kind of inspect and see if you have enough grease inside, and they move freely. Also this one as well. Before installing caliper and our new brakes, we need to compress the cylinder And before doing this, you need to open the cap on your brake master cylinder. Before installation new brake pads, you need to lubricate caliper bracket, and I'm using this lubricant. Just make sure you're not getting any lubricant on your rotor while you're doing this. That's why I like to use just flat screwdriver. Also do the same procedure in the back of your rotor. My vehicle does not equipped with a brake pad sensor called wear sensor, but if you do have a sensor, that's where the sensor will be located, and usually they just come very easily, and either you have to replace them, you know, due to the fact maybe they'll be broke, or when actually light came on your dashboard stating that your brakes need to be changed, this means you will need to replace the sensor. So make sure you purchase a new sensor as well when you're purchasing new brake pads. Don't forget to install the cap on your wheel bearing, that preventing not from any dirt and rust as well. And I like to apply a little bit of grease over here as well. Just gonna help to remove the cap in the future if it's required to be removed for any reason. Now the job is done, and only what's left to put your wheel and torque your lug nuts to 90 torque pounds. After you torque your wheel, you can go in and release jack and apply a full weight on your tire. Also, don't forget to close your master cylinder brake fluid reservoir, and you're done. Now guys, if you have any questions, just leave me in the comment section. I'll be glad to answer. And as always, thank you for watching.